Here comes a new challenger!
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video, in which we are re-reviewing Byleth. So in my last video, I kind of explained how I feel that one of the main things Byleth needs is just better ways of spacing his moves, right? Because the thing about Fair is that, or rather his air mobility, is that he doesn't move all too fast in the air. On the ground, he's fine enough, I feel, for the type of character he is. But on the air, he feels very slow when moving left to right, thus making moves like this, while great spacing tools because the hitbox of the tipper is very generous. However, when it comes down to it, Byleth needs to have better air movement. So that way he could juggle people better and space his aerials better. Alright. Makes sense? I also really talked about how his ground moves, I believe in the previous video, I talked about how his ground moves can also use some frame data buffs. So a move like F Smash is perfectly fine. However, his tilts are quite slow. I think this needs to be faster. I think this needs to be a bit faster, like two frames faster. I think down tilt definitely needs some speed upgrades here. And the last thing I focused on was the bow. I think the bow this initial part of the bow needs to come out much faster to actually be utilized well for, messing up your opponent. Because one of the best things about having a projectile is that it conditions your opponent, but having a projectile that you can cancel from is also really good. But I think that cancel window needs to be immediate. Alright. I'm gonna be holding shield right after. That's when you finally get to cancel. I think it needs to be much earlier. Or have the arrow fire out faster. Because as it stands, you can react and avoid this pretty easily. Alright? There will be times where you will get hit by the arrow due to your bad positioning and there's just no way to avoid it. But when it comes down to it, there's not really a method to really mix up your opponent outside of just doing this, where it won't fire the arrow as fast if you turn it twice. So when it comes to it, I think the arrow needs just to be faster, my personal opinion, or have the cancel window be much earlier. So that way, if say your opponent is landing, I can immediately cancel into like an up smash, as an example. So that's one of the main things. But I have wanted to give my opinions again on this character because I feel there is some good to this character that I just didn't bring up previously. So what are some of his good aspects? Well, when it comes to it, whiff punishing with Byleth is really good. Because if you were to if you were to like mess up at any point, you could, in theory, right, like let's say you're at ledge, you do a get up attack, Byleth knows you're gonna do this, so he runs back and F smashes. That's gonna hurt a lot, especially for the type of character Byleth is. If he lands this tipper upward, like, you're gonna take some really strong knockback, right? Now, when it comes to it, he also has a great nair. The hitbox is kind of janky, but when it lands, you have follow-ups from it, you can grab from it, you can, with instant double jump, I can't show this off now, but with instant double jump, you basically have Palu nair loops, you could get it 3 times, I believe, and then into a fair. So Byleth can get damage from 0% pretty easily, because his nair is so good for that. Right? But with instant double jump, those combos that you in theory can DI away from just become so much harder, and Byleth is able to get like 50% damage at the start of the match, which is good. Having that is really good. So Byleth can deal damage early percent and kill really well at late percent, because you have moves like up smash, which are pretty reliable at killing. You have down smash, which again, pretty reliable at killing, and F smash, which is just really strong. Now, the distance side B covers is great. right? I'll never knock it for that. But the fact that this move doesn't kill at all is kinda a detriment to the move. Even with max spacing, I doubt, you know, like you kind of need the smash variant, because normal variant won't really do you wonders. So, okay, well that killed. I'm talking about later percents, especially with DI, something like this, for how proper you need to space this, because sometimes it can just whiff like that. Like the graphic went right through his foot. You know, but that's without DI. Without DI, obviously it's gonna kill. But like, especially at late percents, especially when it's also staled, you're gonna have to take some risk. So it's not so bad. It's not so bad, but maybe it should get a little bit of help. Because when it comes to using the move, it ain't too bad. But when it comes to killing, when you know how to DI the move, it's gonna take a little bit. But hey, that's neither here nor there, right? And besides, it's not like you can always rely on your opponent for standing still, right? So if they move in, you could get a scenario where if you did the smash variant, they'll get hit by the stick and not by the actual edge of the spear. The lance, whatever. So when it comes to it, that move needs a buff in terms of knockback. Damage-wise, it's fine. Range-wise, it's fine. Even hitbox-wise, it's fine. But knockback-wise, kind of needs some assistance. Because this character's supposed to be what Sakurai called a distance demon. But as I said, with poor air mobility, it's not going to work. And even with some moves perfectly spaced out, it won't kill, unless you're this move. This move kills absurdly early, especially when you aim it upward. Now obviously, upward won't it won't save you against characters like Pichu or Pika. You essentially have to get those as reads, but it kills. It sends pretty far. Now, another thing that is an issue with Byleth is this up B. So, at early percents, you can Omega DI this, which is kind of unfortunate. So we're gonna have Shulk do this. I had to DI it down. Let me go this way. Yeah, there you go. That's the angle. So you could just barely get it. On some characters, you can't get it at all. For some, you're just kind of forced to double jump first and then do it, which will work. Double jumping immediately afterwards will work. So you got that. At high percents, it's essentially a read. Like, I mean, not a read, a 50-50. You have to take a guess. Because at higher percents, it can go that way. I should just put it like... This is good. At higher percents, you can go for something like that. However, if they DI in front of you, then, you know, you gotta predict that. So with up B at higher percents, if you want to get it to kill, it's basically prediction. Either you get it in front of you or you get a back air. One of those two things, right? So, but regardless, you can get something at the proper percents. So Byleth is this up B at later percents, I feel, should just send one way, even with DI. It's just that depending on how you DI, say for instance they DI in, I should just jump and then do that, right? Or something like that, something to that extent. Or maybe give it more stun, right? So if they DI a certain way, I can react. Because as it stands with Ultimate's input lag, just even without Wi-Fi, it's kind of bad. But, you know, reacting basically is pretty bad in this game. But that's fine, right? We can avoid that. Now, there are other benefits to Byleth. I mentioned this F smash killing, right? Now, there was a video by GimR. I'm gonna link it down below, where basically you have enough time to react to your opponent's ledge option that this F smash is gonna hit when they're at ledge, right? So like, say for instance, I'm Byleth, Shulk does get up attack, I could get him, whatever, right? Based on average human reaction time, it's possible to use this move, and if you get the tip of it, which on correct spacing you will, whether they jump, normal get up attack, roll, or drop down, you'll get him with F smash. That's only an offline thing though. Online, it's not gonna work out for you. But we're not talking about online, we're not focusing on that, we're focusing on offline. And offline wise, that's really good to have because, like I said, this move kills decently early. You know, because it has essentially 3 tippers, well, 3 hitboxes. So you have the stick, you have the lance, you have like the knife edge part of lance, and then you have the actual hitbox at the tip. And that hitbox at the tip is quite strong and consistent, unlike another swordsman I know. But it will kill. You catch your opponent, it will kill, and that's great to have. All right. Now, when it comes to it, I feel one of the things, this needs just to send directly up. Directly up, but have low knockback, like lower knockback. So down to up air works. So at higher percents, you can still catch your opponent. Now, we're almost done. You know, I'm just covering all the things that I really didn't explain in the last one. Because some of the things I said in that previous video, I still kind of believe in. But, you know, Byleth isn't as weak as I initially thought. It's just that you have to have good fundamentals. Fundamentals, knowing how to space, knowing how to mess up your opponent, making them think you're gonna do one thing, then you end up doing another thing, right? So like say my opponent, they think I'm gonna down throw them and they're gonna DI away, but then they actually DI in and I get them with instant dash attack from back throw, right? Because back throw comes up pretty quickly. Like when you toss them, it's pretty fast. So in that sense, it's not so bad. The last thing I want to cover though is something that needs to be fixed with Byleth, and it's with Shulk here. Now, I hope that someone sees this, because as you know, up B is a hit grab, right? So if my opponent shields, it's not gonna hit him. But if it does hit, you should typically get something like that. The reason why I have Shulk here is because he's immune to this, and is one of the things I really don't like when fighting against Shulk. So we'll just have him 99, doesn't matter. So we have Shulk here. As many of you may know, he has this Monado dial thing. That's great and all. You can even use it during hit stun. So, you know, you can use it during hit stun. That's great. Whatever. This also applies to up B. And when you up B against Shulk's this, that happens. And Shulk is able to act out first. So as an example, oh wait, I didn't hold it. It's gonna be weird and finicky to make this work, guys. Hold on. All right, here we go. We're gonna try one more time. So we're gonna hold it. That can happen to you. All right, so Shulk in this instance, it kind of needs an adjustment, right? You know, as far as I'm aware, though, I think this happens when you have this happens regardless of whether or not you have Monado arts or not. I mean, typically against a Shulk, you're gonna have all of them, but even in theory, all right, even in practice, that's still gonna happen to you. So when it comes to it, this is an issue that needs to be fixed. But hey, I don't know if Nintendo's planning on doing that. And you know, I didn't make the game, I just play the game, and they said, hey, we make the game, and that's how the game works. I don't know what to tell you. But ultimately, I don't think Byleth is as bad as I originally thought. Is it fair to call him the worst Fire Emblem character in the game out of the 8 that we have? You could make that argument. MKLeo, the best Marth and Byleth, as it stands currently, says that he feels, personally, Byleth is better than Marth. Maybe it's just because his Byleth is better than his Marth, but he just feels Byleth is more consistent in that sense. And in a sense, Byleth will get tippers more on average than Marth will. This is just going to happen. But when it comes to it, I think Marth is better due to his better movement. He could just move around unlike, you know, Byleth can. So if Byleth were to get aerial buffs, like airspeed buffs, which is never going to happen, this game has not buffed a character in terms of their stats outside of Mewtwo making him 2 units heavier. That's it. That's all they've ever done. If Byleth can get faster air movement, Byleth would get tons of new things, and it would just benefit the character way more than how he is currently. So just remove this nonsense. Give him better airspeed, this move faster, and launch a bit lower, less knockback. Shave off a frame or two off of his tilts. Alright. Because the smash attacks are fine. I believe they're fine. Just give him better airspeed, because his aerials are perfectly fine as is, though this sounds really weak. It just sounds like a slap. Alright, just give him faster airspeed. Make this functional. And I think Byleth is pretty much good to go. Like, Byleth has great things held back by dumb things. And that's actually generally what's wrong with a lot of characters in this cast, and why I decided to make this series. A lot of characters in Ultimate have amazing kits held back by 1 or 2 just whack things, right? It's ridiculous that a lot of characters in this game, because obviously people say this game is well balanced or whatever, but the reality is that there are characters in this game that you just won't win with, no matter how hard you try. You make it top 16, top 24, you know, Little Mac has gotten top 24, so it's possible. But in terms of actually winning, that's gonna be a lot harder. Unless you're a counter-picking machine in which you play various characters to basically not have to worry about any matchup. If you're trying to solo main a character like Byleth here, you're gonna struggle. If you try to solo main a character like Mac, you're gonna struggle. If you try to solo main a character like Ganon, you're gonna struggle. There are characters in this game that have great things. Like I said, great things held back by dumb things. That's why I made this series. And so, I ask you, dear viewer, please tell me in the comments below, who should I cover next? Should it be another low tier, another top tier? You know, people have wacky top tiers in my opinion, as I don't think Joker's the best in the game, and I don't understand how people see that, but whatever. So, but we all have our opinions, everyone has one, and with that being said, if you enjoy the content, press that subscribe button. I'll see you guys later, take care of yourself, and as always, have an amazing rest of your wonderful day. Peace!